Alright boys, quick update on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So somebody told me about this little move that happened a few minutes ago, and let me break it down with you all. So I'll tell you what it is to me and what I'm looking for. Alright, so we're gonna talk about this pattern real quick. I will try to make these type of video as shorts on YouTube, maybe on TikTok as well. But for the first one, I'll just keep it as a simple video on YouTube, and I'll be as short and sweet as possible. So I won't be talking too much about the setup, just the smaller time frame. All right, so we know, you guys know what I'm looking for in this structure. I'm looking for an up move, if not worst case scenario, a correction for another drop before an up move. So these are the actual scenario I'm looking for, the bigger time frame. Now, in fact, this move could happen at any time since we are on this running flat range. So it could happen, but because of the smaller time frame, we're going to be careful on which one will have the highest probability between this scenario and this one. All right, so that's what we're taking care of by looking at the smaller time frame, and that's the goal. All right, we know the direction in the bigger time frame, but it's the smaller time frame that will tell us which one will is most likely to happen. Now you got the scenario, and what you gotta remember first of all is that, well, that's only a tip. I will let you know about this tip that helps me. I'm not sure for you if it will help you, but I bet it will. So if I'm looking for the second scenario, which I expect that could happen, I will be most likely looking for this correction if we break that low. The reason why is that if we break that low, I know that we're gonna have some reaction, probably a correction, and if we get a correction after breaking that low, then I expect either I just don't expect the running flag to happen. So if we see something like this, I would just delete this arrow and I would not look for this running flat no more. I don't think the running flat will happen if we see something like this. Now, also, if we see something like this, depending on the reaction we'll have there and the rally it will start, if the correction goes higher, then we'll probably have a flat for another push. But if the correction keeps being small, so it stays on a range that is pretty small, all right, after a drop, then I'll expect another drop, and this could just be a bigger A move, all right? Because at some point, I see this as an A move. It will be a C wave if that's for a running flat, but if it not, I think it's an A move, so it could be a bigger A move. We don't know when this will end, so at any point it could be a bigger A move. Feel? So what I'm being careful of is the smaller time frame, because like I said, the smaller time frame will tell us if we're going up or if we're having a bigger correction before another push, and at this point we'll be looking for the next wave up. Alright, so that's for the bigger time frame. Quick, just to let you know about what I'm looking for. Now in the smaller time frame, and this is the wrong chart, I'm not using Binance actually, so I'll take Coinbase. Alright, this looks a little bit better. Now, you know, in my last video, you guys know that I talked about this move being a correction, or I was looking to break the top, being a correction, a regular flat for another drop. So you have the correction in the top right corner. Regular flat is just this simple three-wave correction. That means a continuation of the trend. So if you have a drop, you get this correction, then you are looking for another drop. The reason why, it's because of psychology, but also because of people that want to sell at the higher tops when you've been in a range for a long time. All right, I won't dive into that, it will take too much time, but just gotta remember that if you see something looking like this, you expect most likely a drop. All right, and most of the time it will drop again. Now this move right there was a correction for this impulse up, so that means that the whole structure we were looking at is just taking more time than expected. So it's not looking like this like we usually expect to, looking something like this. In fact, in this one it looks like something like this. All right, and it doesn't matter, at the end this remains a regular flat for a drop. All right, the only thing that can cancel this regular flat actually is if we see it range in that zone, which this means that we have a correction for this impulse and we'll have another impulse. If it doesn't range here, then this will most likely drop. So it didn't range, as you can see, it didn't range, it simply dropped. So at this point, this was not going to go higher. This would most likely be the regular flat that we saw at first, that we were expecting at first. And this, especially since this correction went that low, near this low, all right, it went pretty deep, so it would be weird to have a pump that starts off that way. Most likely people are going to take this top as an exit to get out of the trade or to short the market, and then this will go down. So I admit it, this regular flat was kind of weird, and like I said in my last video, for the French people that are watching me, I was saying that I was in the trade somewhere in there, stop loss above this low, and the goal was to break the top again. So it happened. All right, I got almost out of my trade right there, but it actually went in the right direction. So you got to believe in the TA when you're looking at a move that looks like a correction. Well, you got to push it, because the whole goal, right, was to break that low for the regular flat. All right, now that it's broken, you got to be careful of that. All right, this doesn't mean anything. This type of impulse doesn't mean anything. What means something actually is what you have after. So if you have a correction after, then you can expect a continuation of this up move. But if you don't have it, this can be a simple pump and dump, stop loss, trigger, chaser, or whatever, simply just to catch liquidity or whatever before going down. All right, so we know people are in shorts. I'm there, right there. So this whole move purpose is to take those stop loss and go in the right direction. And it doesn't matter to us because we're seeing this move as a range so far. But if I saw this correction, like I said again, if I saw this correction, I would probably have entered on a trade in the bigger time frame this time. It was not the smaller time frame, a bigger one, to get into that running flat right there. It would have been pretty clean. So I was waiting for this flag and get into this trade. That would be fine for to try out for this running flat. All right, now it didn't happen, so I'm not in the trade. I'm not also in the long. I'm just not in any trade right now because I took most of my profits at this top, and I kind of fully exited the trade right there because this move looked too corrective for me, and I was expecting this drop. Since this was pretty sharp, you had a little flag, so I was not seeing this whole structure as a correction for another up move. So I was seeing actually the pattern going down pretty much. Now I would not have entered this short. I know people could or have entered in the short right there. I think the setup it looks good, but the whole structure doesn't look that good, and that's why I'm not in the trade. I'm not in the short. Even if it goes down, I don't really care. I'll wait right there to see if there's any buy setups, because the goal for me on the bigger time frame is to take buy setups, and for that we need to be done with this structure. So we need to have this structure completed, and then I'll be looking for a buy setup. So if it goes and break the low, that's good. That's good for us, because we're looking, like I said, for the bigger time frame, and for that we need to be careful. We need to get rid of those small moves. So when we're done with this small move, you be careful, you wait. Now you see that looks like another correction, so you gotta be careful again and wait for this correction to be done, and you do that until you find a setup which looks like an impulse and a correction. So until you find something that looks like this, you don't really care. All right, if it keeps giving range like this, all right, you wait, and as long as you see an impulse and a correction, now you try it, because you know the goal is to retest the top. Kind of similar of what happened right there. So for Bitcoin, right now I do see the price coming and retesting this low, and then I will be looking for buys. So I think we'll finally be done with this structure, which looks kind of ugly. All right, I'm not gonna lie, this is ugly. This was pretty clean, because you know it barely breaks the top and goes back down. This one broke the top with good impulse, and it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter, but still doesn't look really good. So I know when you're somewhere right there, you're wondering what will happen. You're like, is it gonna flag? Is it gonna go back down? why is this impulse too big, what's happening. And in fact, it doesn't really matter. The best tip I can give you all is to just care about the flag, right? Don't care about anything else but the flag. So if you don't see it flag, it doesn't matter to you. Just assume that it will go back down. So if you don't see a flag right there, assume that this will go back down, right? That's the only thing I can tell you about it, because I don't have a crystal ball. I just wait probability to see which one has the most potential, so I can't really tell. Now, seeing this structure, I really think we're gonna go back down and retest the low, and I don't think this is a running flat. It looks pretty weird, so I really don't think it will be a running flat, so I'm not taking care of this move. All right, I'm just waiting to see if this will lightly flag. If it does, it could be a setup to try it out, but I'll personally just wait in this zone to see if there is any buy setup. So for Bitcoin, pretty simple. I think we're gonna retest the low. Now Ethereum is quite different. So Ethereum, same thing. Just a reminder. Well, this looked corrective, but all right, just a reminder. This to me looks like a correction for this impulse, or even that whole impulse. So because of that, I'm looking for another impulse to retest the top. That's in the 4-hour chart. And yeah, in the weekly chart and all, there's this, I gotta be careful of this one. So that's the weekly, but I gotta be careful of this correction for another drop. But it doesn't matter if it gives a new push, breaks the top one more time. We'll probably have it later on, but wait, let's take it piece by piece and focus on this one first. So I'm keeping in mind this move, but I'm not considering it when I trade the smaller time frame. Especially, I'm just keeping it in mind as if we see a big range, I'll expect probably the move to happen. But in fact, right now I don't really care about it. So smaller time frame, like I said, last video I told you this was a correction up move, so I was expecting another up move. Now what is happening right there is that there is a potential. Now, all right, I need to break this whole piece down so you guys understand why I say that this is kind of weird but risky, because there's two different scenario that is quite even, right? And in that case, that's where you got to be extra careful and wait the possibilities on what trade is good to take. Now let me break that down. So in my last video I told you that this was an A move, this was a B move, all right, to me, all right, it always to me, because I see it that way. It doesn't mean that everyone see that way, but I do see it that way. And this was a C wave that was not completed, so the whole point of this correction was to bring another impulse and then complete the C wave, which will be this whole piece. All right, this will be an ABC, a regular flat for a drop. All right, just like Bitcoin, similar to Bitcoin. That was the main scenario. Now the thing is, and I'll keep the scenario right there so you understand about it, this piece right there and this whole move. All right, so I'll put it right there. Now this could be when you have a drop, this could be a correction, right? An ABC, so A move right there, B move right there, and the C move for a drop. Even though the C wave looks like it's in 3 parts, it doesn't matter. This can still be a regular flat for a drop. Now the thing is, because of that C wave, because of how it looks, and because of that correction in between, you can see this as a small A, small B being the correction, and the small C right there. And in fact, what it does that actually, if you see it that way, this can be not a correction, but a bigger A move. All right, so this can be an impulse and not a correction. And in that case, you have your A right there, the whole ABC, the small caps ABC will be a bigger B, and this could be a C wave to complete this running flat. So I hope you can see it. All right, this is complex a little bit, but it can happen. And if it completes this running flat, in fact, we can expect another push to match this impulse right there, and that will be a bigger regular flat, so bigger ABC for a drop. So all right, this is the hardest part to explain, because most people kind of don't understand about complex structure. But the move that I was seeing as a B wave at first can turn out to be a wave simply because this move right there looks more corrective, almost more corrective than this one. So let me just put this right there. Let's say it starts right there and it ends right there, so it will be a 4-day 20-hour. But if we put it on top right there, this is 5-day 20 hours. So in fact, this move right there looks kind of bigger than this one. So this changes a little the structure, because now we have two scenarios. The first one is this regular flat, which breaks the low, and the second one is this being a running flat from that port, breaking the low, not breaking the low, all right, staying above this low, completing this running flat, and then giving another push before breaking the low. So that's where it gets complicated. That's the second scenario actually. So right now, what you got to keep in mind in both cases is that when you break this top, you sell. In both cases, when you break this top, you gotta be short or looking for shorts, because in the first scenario you're gonna retest the low, and the second scenario you're gonna be on a drop just to that point before having an up move. So in both cases, right there you sell, and in both cases, right there you buy in the smaller time frame, because you knew that the target was this top. So there's a few moves that you can take in both scenarios that are fine, which, like I said, is the sell and the buy right there. These are fine in whatever move you're looking for. So whether it's a running flat or the regular flat, both moves are fine. But when it gets to that point, that's where you got to be extra careful. And what I mean by that is that if you see this move range, then you say this running flat won't happen. It won't be a running flat, it will be a regular flat instead, and we're gonna drop. But if you don't see it range, all right, if you don't see it range and even you see it pump and give a flag, then you'll expect this running flat to happen and not the regular flat, all right, not the regular flat but the running flat instead. And then you look for shorts again right there to short. So that's how I see it. I know it's kind of weird, but this is a complex structure, so if it happens, it will be a complex structure, and it doesn't happen a lot in crypto when it comes to complex structure. So that's why I'm talking about it, but I'm not actually, I think it could happen, but the most important part was to take a short position in there, and it was kind of clean, all right, compared to Bitcoin, where you had this impulse that went above the top. The Ethereum stayed relatively above, not too much, so it's perfect to try sells. This one was a good one, this one was fine, but yeah, perfect to try sells. Well, the main target is there, but I would be careful of the running flat if you're in the trade. So like I said, if you see it come in range, you can keep your trade on, you just put your break even and protect yourself. But if you see it comes down like this, goes back up and flag, I'll be out of the trade, all right, either out, or I'll take some profits or put my break even. But whatever happened, you need to do something if you see that, because the next move could be to break the top, and you don't want to lose the trade that you were already in profits in. So that's how I see it. But remember, if this move happened, you have a lot of probability to have another drop afterwards, because the whole move just stays corrective, and with a running flat in it, it just is much more corrective, right? It just have more probability to come and retest the low, and that's how I see it so far. So GG's to the people that are in the short. That was kind of clean on Ethereum. On Bitcoin, I don't really like it, but Ethereum was kind of clean. And GG's for those that took the buy. Also, remember, always take profits at the top, because the whole point of this correction is to bring another impulse that will break the top. After that, we have no clue, so why not take profits at the top, since you know it's your first target. And then watch out for the regular flat, like I said. All right, so that's about it for this update, guys. I hope you like it. I'll try to do much more update like this. I'll try to make them as short and sweet as possible, also for shorts and TikTok, like I explained earlier. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, comment, and share it with your friends. Until the next time, peace.